It certainly isn't every day that you pull up information on a Nintendo Switch title and you see Sony slapped right on the company name. It's still not too common knowledge that Sony Music Entertainment Japan is publishing games on non-Sony platforms. In particular, the new Touhou game that's released in the West on the Nintendo Switch. Being a huge fan of Touhou and realizing that this game was actually a bullet hell game, I dived in as soon as I could. Here is my review of Touhou Azure Reflections, listed on the eShop only as Azure Reflections for the Nintendo Switch. As far as story is concerned, Azure Reflections may look like a standalone title, but it's actually a direct sequel to the 6th Touhou bullet hell game called Embodiment of Scarlet Devil. The introduction of Reflections goes over the Scarlet Mist incident that happened during Touhou 6, and brings us up to speed on what's going on now. Reimu, the Shrine Maiden that helped resolve the Scarlet Mist incident, sees the Scarlet Mist return. Once she finds herself trapped, she heads back to the Scarlet Mansion to do what she did before, to resolve the incident and break free of this closed realm. Now the thing with all of these console Touhou games is that they never get the story balance quite right. Gensou Wanderer overloads you with hours upon hours upon hours of lore, even when you're just talking to a shopkeeper and want to buy some equipment, whereas most of the other games don't give you enough information. This game is getting closer to a good balance. What it does right is the fact that they did a good job of having an intro sequence where it explains the events of Touhou 6 and kind of gives you a good gist of what you're doing in this game. What it doesn't do quite right are the character-to-character interactions. Whenever you get to a boss character, you have this long-winded character-based conversation that assumes you know all of the character quirks for all of these characters already, and really leaves anybody who's not a Touhou expert in a lot of confusion. By gameplay, Azure Reflections is a horizontal bullet hell shooter, similar to the old Touhou games that were on PC, except this is horizontal and those were vertical. As you go through each stage, you're going to be flying through horizontal environments and shooting down enemies while dodging massive barrages of bullets that are flying at you from almost all directions. When it comes to game modes, the only real interactable game modes you've got are Story Mode, Practice Mode, and the game's tutorial. All of the other game modes are cosmetic and information based, like the accessory shop used to buy cosmetic accessories that dress up your character and give them special abilities, and all of the database game modes that let you view various bits of information, like character backgrounds, your player records, or the leaderboards. Story mode is the meat of this game though. When you go into the game and you actually want to play the bullet hell part, you go in, choose a difficulty, choose a playable character, and then choose a bullet style for however you wish to play. These of course can be altered for different types of experiences, and many of the playable characters have their own unique variations of bullet styles for different ways of playing. Now once you're thrown in, the idea is that you're thrown into a 2D plane and you've got to fly around and shoot down enemies as they show up, dodging their bullets until you reach the boss of that stage. And that's when the stage really begins. The emphasis in this game isn't on the normal enemies you go through the levels, but the boss fights. Every boss has different stages that you go through throughout the fight, each with different attack styles and different strategies. To get through each phase, you have to shoot them down until their health drops a certain amount, and then use a special rush attack to knock them back and force them into the next phase. The more important and more strategic aspect of bosses is that once you take them past phase 1, they'll start using spell cards, and they'll have a timer until that spell card they're using runs out. Your goal is to bring down their HP and rush them again to capture that spell card before that timer runs out. It's important because not only does it shorten the overall boss time, but never failing to capture spell cards is the key to unlocking the true ending path and not being given the bad ending in stage 5. But this wouldn't be a bullet hell game if it weren't very, very difficult. When you're fighting all of these bosses, they're going to start every fight throwing countless bullets at you in huge patterns that cover the entire screen. Your goal is to keep shooting at them while you are carefully moving around their bullets, trying to never get hit even once to not get stunned and knocked out of formation. While this has always been the big thing about bullet hell games, the game does give you a few things in your arsenal to help you get out of sticky situations. You can open up barriers, sacrificing some attack power to dissipate all of the bullets around you, use your own spell cards to do massive damage around you, just so long as the enemy isn't using a spell card at the same time, or you'll forfeit that one and risk getting the bad ending. Or you can use the rush attack. Not only can that attack knock enemies into the next phase when their health is run out, but it can absorb all of the bullets that you fly through, effectively redirecting all of that energy back at the opponent, doing extra damage when you hit them. This not only eases the difficulty a bit for casual players to jump in, but it also gives you a little bit more variety out of just basic bullet hell gameplay. Now once you get this system down, this becomes a fun and thrilling experience, albeit a pretty short one. As far as content goes, you've got 3 different characters that you can play through the story mode as, and once you clear the true ending path with all 3 of those characters, you unlock the secret extra stage, where the secret ending is. And this may sound like a lot, but it doesn't really take you long to do. By the time I'd cleared the game with all 3 playable characters and cleared the extra stage, I had spent less than 4 hours in the game. And after that, there's not really much left to do outside of just replaying the game to get more currency so you can buy more accessories. The story mode doesn't really expand past that. Now let's dive into presentation, which is surprisingly good. When you're going through the shooting sections, you can't really tell a lot about detail, but everything is in 3D as far as the models are concerned, and the production value really shows itself when you get little cinematic scenes that show the 3D models up close. There was definitely a lot of effort put into this system, and seeing how beautiful the models look up close really makes me wish this was also a 3D game. Nothing bad to say about performance, everything runs nice and smooth, so let's go right into battery life, which isn't as much as I was expecting, especially after what Touhou Burst Battle got us. But here are my battery times, from 100% to 0%. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 2 hours and 39 minutes. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 2 hours and 48 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 3 hours and 9 minutes. Lower brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 3 hours and 22 minutes. I mean, you're still going to get most of the game done in this amount of time, it's just not as much as the last Touhou game got us. Now in conclusion, Touhou Azure Reflections is really handheld gamers' first exposure to the true bullet hell roots of the Touhou franchise. Now the game is brought down a little bit by the fact that it's not a very long experience, and these games still haven't found a true balance in the way they present story. But anybody who's a fan of Touhou and bullet hell games will find a beautiful and intense shooter to take everybody's favorite Shrine Maiden on the go. Reviews to Go rates Touhou Azure Reflections for the Nintendo Switch an 8.5 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at reviewstogo.com. Before I go, I want to thank everybody who's donated both to me and my Patreon campaign. Your donations have quickly gotten my website back up on its feet in the past and continue to be used to bring more content and better content to the channel. So thank you to everybody who's donated, and if you'd like to donate, head on over to patreon.com/reviewstogo. Thanks again for watching, have a great day.